Alright, what's up guys? My name is Connor. Today we're going to show you how to replace your tie rod and your tie rod end for your 2001 Jeep Cherokee. This is going to be a ZJ Grand Cherokee upgrade. Alright, so the necessary parts, you're going to want to have a hammer. You're going to want to have a pickle fork to get off the old ends. You're going to want a needle nose pliers so you can get off the cotter pins. You need a torque wrench to torque it down to the right specifications. You're going to need a 3/4 socket, a 15 millimeter socket, and then a 7 millimeter. You'll want a regular wrench to get it off. You can even use a breaker bar. And you're also going to want a grease gun. Alright, so these are the parts you're going to need. This is going to be your tie rod end. The part number is ES3096. It's going to come with that, a nut, and a cotter pin. Then you're going to need your adjustment sleeve. Its part number is ES2097S. So it's come with that. And then this is going to be the entire tie rod, which is DS1312. It's also going to come with a nut and a cotter pin, and then you should also get 2 of these greasing nipples. Alright, so right here is going to be your tie rod. This is the old XJ1. It's hollow. That's why we're replacing it with a ZJ. It's going to go from your drag link over here. You're going to follow it all the way over to your driver's side steering knuckle over here. So that's going to be the tie rod. First thing you're going to want to do is you're going to go to each side of the tie rod end, and you're going to need to take off your little cotter pin here. They're usually folded over. The needle nose pliers will be here for. Alright, so once you take the cotter pins off both sides, you're going to take your 3/4 size socket and you're going to take it on the wrench. You're going to want to loosen these up. Sometimes they're going to be on there pretty tight, so you might have to use WD-40 or a breaker bar. So you're just going to take them both off. Alright, so once you get it off, you're going to do the same thing on the other side. We'll get our light set up. It's going to be on top of the steering knuckle here. Same thing, you might have to use a breaker bar. This one's a little more difficult to get to, so if you have a lifted Jeep, it'll be a lot easier. Now that both nuts are off, we can use the pickle fork and the hammer to take off the entire tie rod. Alright, so what you're going to do over here is you're going to take your pickle fork and you're going to put it on the top of the greased up bushing right here, if you can even get it in there. And you might have to have a hammer to kind of get it in there. Alright, if you ever have trouble getting off the pickle fork, you can basically just hammer on top of these. Never do it if you're going to keep the tie rod ends, because you're going to get them on. But since we're putting on new ones, we're able to. Alright, so now that we have our new tie rod and our old tie rod, what I do when I replace these, you kind of want to set them next to each other because you're going to want it to be the exact same length. And for this, since it's not the same piece, we have to add this in. We're just going to thread the whole thing on and thread this piece onto this side. This is going to be called a clamp, and we're going to have specifications for the torque that you're going to want to put on this so you don't have death wobbling on that shit. So, just put this on. Alright, so now that you're putting away the 3 pieces together, you're going to want to have it match up. Easiest thing to do, right here, you're going to have both of the pieces come together, and you can see the different threads, and right in the middle you're going to want the pieces to basically be even on both sides. It's going to give you the best stability for that. Alright, one good thing to do, since it's kind of difficult to measure it exactly the same without putting it in, what you can do is you can get measuring tape. You can measure from one end to the other. What I get from about middle to middle, or end to middle, is about 42 inches. So you want to take your new one and kind of measure it out the same. You probably will have to do a little bit of adjustment, but to get it for the most part, so it'll be close, just do it like that. And like I said, you're going to come out to about 41 and a half to 42 inches. All right, so now we're ready to put in the tie rod. You're going to want to put it through. Remember where the hole is for the cotter pin. That's going to be something that's pretty necessary. And for the most part, they can get down. We'll just have it tightened right there for now. You don't want to tighten it down to its torque specifications just yet, in case we need to move it. All right, so these are going to be what's considered your tie rod clamp. You're going to want to tighten these down with your Torx wrench to 20 foot-pounds, and that's when you're going to use your 15mm socket head. The big ones up here that are gonna have, that we just put on, are gonna be with a 3/4, and it's gonna go down to 55 foot torque pounds. Make sure you know where the cotter pin hole is, so when you tighten it, you can tighten it just enough where the cotter pin shows. So we'll go ahead and we'll go do that now. This one's a little more difficult to get to if you want to take off the tire to do it. The only problem with taking off the tires is you're gonna have to get realigned right after. I mean, depending on how it is, you might have to get it realigned anyways. That's good enough for now. Alright, so once you get this to 55 foot-pounds, make sure your hole for the cotter pin lines up with how the pattern on the bolt goes. You want to send that through. And you can use your wire cutters or some needle nose pliers. Just bend this over the top. Flatten it out. That's probably good enough for that. Come on. Alright, so the more you tighten this, the more the bolt's going to come out, and this little small 15 is not going to do. So we had to go to the store, pick us up a longer 15 so we can tighten it. So be sure that you watch this video all the way through before you build it, or you're going to have to make another trip like we did. But right now we're tightening these down to 20 foot-pounds. We already got both of the tie rod ends down to 50, and we put the cotter pins through, 55 that is. So you have to make sure that everything is down to exactly what you need, and like that you'll hear that click each time you do it. You can feel it on the torque wrench. So just make sure you get it down to 20 exactly, or you're gonna have some serious driving problems. Alright, on the bottom side of the tie rod that connects to the drag link is going to be the hole that you're going to put this nipple in. The easiest thing to do to get it going is you're going to want to start just threading it with your fingers just so you can get it going at least. Alright, let's go in. Alright, this is where your 7mm is going to come in handy. Put her on the top and just tighten her on there. That's pretty good. And you're going to do that to both sides. So you're going to come down here to the other one, and this one's going to be on the bottom as well. So you're going to put it right here on the bottom. Same thing, get it threaded with your fingers first. It's always the easiest thing to do. Alright, so now that the new tie rod end is on, and we have our new bushings here, we're going to have to take our grease gun. You can fill up the grease at the bottom. There's directions on it. We're going to put it right on the nipple. And basically just kind of pump it in there. You're going to see the little tie rod bubble here. It's going to balloon out a little bit. You're going to want to keep doing it until you can see grease kind of come out the side. And I have it coming out the top, so I'm going to stop. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come over to this side on this tie rod. We're going to do the exact same thing. Alright. It's going out. Alright, and once you have those greased up and everything down to the specific torque, you're ready to go. First thing what I do suggest is going out and driving it down the street and testing out the alignment. And if you feel like it's slightly off at all, go to someplace like a shop and get it aligned right away, because that's the most important thing. And that's it. That's how you put on the tie rod. Little upgrade.